Welcome back to the Friend or Foe Heroic Playoffs. And to those of us who are just joining us, hello and welcome to our second game between Team YUBI and Team SPE. I'm Torres, and I'm accompanied by Raptor.
Yo, that was a fun first game.
Yeah, it was a fun first game. I mean, at least for the side of YUBI. Team SPE has had a little bit of time to recollect, maybe fix their draft a little bit, kind of mentally reset and see what they can bring into Game 2 to keep this series alive. Of course, it is a best of 3. When we get to this draft, we'll see how this plays out. We'll see what changes they have made, what adjustments. And, I mean, it looks like Team YUBI is sticking with their plan of just target banning Deedle.
Yeah, the Malzahar, now that they're not on blue side, like, they're just taking that away from him. Just try to take, again, everything he can play away from him. Put him on something uncomfortable. On the side of SPE, they banned out I think, like, the Leona, like, they're scared of that now. Brian has put the fear of Leona into them. The fear of the sun. And with the Malzahar ban, that means we're going to get Diddle's other pick, the Veigar, and wow, these picks are going through fast.
Yeah, compared to the last time, a little bit more calculated, but I mean, just because it's fast does not mean it's calculated. The teams have both a lot of times to figure out what they want. It seems that YUBI has decided to ban the Malzahar over the Veigar, seeing it's not much of a threat. But we do know Diddle is more comfortable on the Veigar other than the Syndra, so we'll see how much of an impact he has this game in comparison to last.
Yeah, I think he can be more impactful on the Veigar. I think he can do a bit more and set up more plays with it. The set for Ariri, I think, is also better too. It is something that you can kind of carry, but also tank on. It's a good bruiser. Like, I think Set's right now like the best bruiser in the game, so it's really good to see them put him on something that is a little bit more proactive and able to make plays around the map. We'll have to see YUBI's last pick after Skarner coming in for Spear. It's a very beefy one, and Ezreal coming out from YUBI actually surprises me a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty surprising, but also I would say it's a pretty good pick into what Spear is throwing at them. They have the Skarner just going to be running you down, trying to get that point in a quick CC. Of course, Set is doing much of the same, but at a slower pace. But the Veigar with the E, trying to get out of that cage in a traditional ADC is going to be super difficult. They play the Kaisa, they play the Tristana. You just get stunned in place, and I mean, it looks like Jeff God Gamer is going for a little bit of comfort on the Ezreal and a little bit of survivability.
Yeah, my one concern always when I see an Ezreal is late game fights, if it gets that far, him getting through the tanks. And I know Ezreal's strong, I know you can poke forever, but if you just get engaged in a fight abruptly, like, he's not the best DPS champion in the world. So with the Corki and the Ezreal, I'm assuming they're just kind of going for a poke comp. The Morgana kind of helps with that, helps disengage, helps also lock someone down for them just to throw everything at. So I think we're seeing a different comp out of YUBI. So last time they showed us a nothing but dive comp, and now we're seeing the exact opposite.
Yeah, a little bit of a poke comp rather than their dive comp that they played originally. But I mean, we are looking at this not knowing where the Morgana is going. I mean, a Morgana jungle has been nerfed. We don't know if this is a Maokai support. This is all up in the air, and I assume it's all up in the air for Team SPE as well, so I have to be treading around carefully around these picks. Looks like the Rakan is locked in from Team SPE. A little bit of hard engage in order to follow up with that pretty much straightforward, not really engage, but just follow up from the side of Set and the Skarner. It looks like Rakan is going to be that hard engage for that team.
Yes, I think Rakan's good in this case. Yes, there's a lot of mobility on Corki and Ezreal, but if you do manage to catch them with the ult W from Rakan, like, it's basically a free kill. It also is really good for kind of forcing them to use their mobility early on, setting up the Skarner and the Veigar to be able to catch them later if they can get around, like, especially if Skarner can get a flank off. It's very much a team fight comp. It's a scaling team fight. Look for a engage, get a pick, and then take it out kind of comp. YUBI, you'll have to see this last one. Okay, it's a Wukong.
Yeah, it looks like a Wukong. Probably a top lane Wukong. We should see the Maokai support and probably the Morgana jungle. This is what I am assuming it's going to be.
That makes sense. Utility Monster has played a lot of Morgana's jungle this season, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him on that. I was a little confused a moment, but I guess it does make sense. There's, again, you have Maokai, you have Morgana, you have Wukong. This is just to keep Spear from getting to your carries. Let them sit there and get all the poke in the world they want down. and just whittle down Spear until you can go in. I think it's really good. And I also think if Wukong gets ahead on set, he could be pretty difficult to deal with, especially for Veigar. Like, if he just gets jumped on, Veigar can almost one-shot him. So we'll have to see how this goes. I'm a little more up in the air about this. I think Spear drafted a much better comp this time around, though.
Yeah, this time around, I think Spirit has a much more of a fighting chance than last time when they had to just rely kind of on macro, but I'm going to give it to the side of Team YUBI right now. I'm liking their comp a little bit more, and I think they can play to their strengths, even though it's the complete opposite of what they played last time. I believe in their ability to perform on this comp, so I'm going to go Team YUBI. How about you, Rap?
I think I'd still give it to YUBI. I think the one downside to the Spear comp is that it takes a while to get online, especially Veigar. So if they if YUBI plays this fast, I think they have a really good shot of winning this. So I give it to YUBI as well.
Yeah, with the 2-0 on YUBI on the draft, we're going to start loading into the game and see how this plays out. Looks like both teams have started up their 5-point, kind of just waddling down to mid lane, see Veigar hopping around. Wukong's found himself in the bush. Leslie's just hanging out by that bot tower. I mean, expectations going into this game, I do expect a lot of aggression on that top side of the map. I mean, a little bit, some trades going back and forth. Utility Monster trying to find some nice, easy ganks. Probably on the mid lane, popping Diddle's flash. It's kind of hard to gank the bottom side of the map. But I do think that on the team side of Team Yumi, I do think Ezreal and Jeff God Gamer and Brian are going to have not an easy time, but enough to survive the lane and outscale for a little bit in that mid game.
Yeah, and the reason we're not seeing any aggression right now is because neither team wants to give up a kill or two at level 1. It could snowball. Like in the case of if it going to YUBI, YUBI could snowball this really fast, and in the case of Spear, if they get they get 2-0, that's already getting their like getting them closer to that scaling point, like a good lead and allowing them a little bit more padding in what they have to make it to be able to scale in this game. So smart play by them all, just kind of staying there, just kind of watching, making sure no funny business comes around. But I actually think it will be an aggressive game from YUBI. I think Spear is going to play this slow. They're just going to play it very, very slow.
Yeah, I mean, I expect the game to be pretty slow from the side of Team Spear, but I can't see them like looking up proactive plays towards the early and mid game, depending on how far they fall behind in the early game. If they do go for these aggressive plays, or just find themselves out of position, like we did see them last game.
Yeah, I think the Maokai, I think it's good here. If Rakan goes in, it can kind of disengage them. It can also just catch the Tristana if she comes at them, or Qs are out of the air. So I think that support, with Ezreal, it works really well. There's not going to really be any ganks from Big Brain. Like, he's not going to find anything down here. Like, you can't really gank Maokai and Ezreal. It's too difficult. So I'd expect to see him possibly go for this top side. I think Wukong is probably the easiest target for him to engage on and try to catch out in this game. On the side of YUBI, I actually think it's going to be mid lane focused. Like, you just need to get the Corki ahead of Diddle and just shut him down ahead of time, like they did last game. It worked really well, and I think that's going to be the game plan again.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to look a lot at the junglers and the pathing, how well Big Brain can just path around Utility Monster, trying to go into the opposite side of the map, trying to just mitigate that pressure. Because, I mean, playing Skarner into Morgana is not a fun thing to do. You just you're telegraphed in the way you run, you don't have enough movement speed to dodge the binding if you're just running straight at her, if you're looking for a kill or the gank. And when you have that ultimate in those team fights, I mean, if Utility Monster is fast enough, which I'm sure he is, he's not going to be... Big Brain is going to have to look for a different target. He's going to have to look a little unorthodox on his targets, maybe go for someone he doesn't want to, but alas, will be able to get the pick, but not netting themselves an important kill. So on the top side of the map, Big Brain's kind of found himself on the top side of the map. Kind of just gets away, Freelancer setting up the substitute. Just walks away.
Yeah, and I actually want to ask you, I have my idea of what he's going to build, but what do you think the Morgana is going to build for her Mythic?
I mean, I'm going to hold that thought. As Utility Monster forces a flash out of Diddle, Big Brain is going onto Utility Monster, kind of doing a little bit of scatter damage, but is only level 4, only gets a half health. But looks like Orphic on the top side of the map has found Freelancer for first blood. The face breaker and just hits him with the fist, left and right.
Yeah, gets a little too confident there, and ooh, hang on, bot side.
The bot side of the map. Looks like Leshy has gone in. A great cue from the Morgana from the Brian saying, mind me. Looks like Everybody's going in. Jeff God Gamer flashes forward a little too far. Leshy misses the hop. Looks like Big Brain flashes in, gets the stun, gets the kill from onto Leshy. The resets are coming through from the Tristana. Brian saying running for the hills. Big Brain a little too deep. Eats a little couple too many tower shots and barely escapes with his life.
Yeah, YUBI just got way too overconfident both there and in the top side of the map. Like, yes, the recon is low. Not the recon. That is recon. Recon was low, but you don't need to go forward like that. Like, at most, you get a trade. And, like, I mean, at like minimum, you're getting a trade. At most you get a trade. At minimum, you are giving up a kill. And I don't think it was the right call. Good on Brian with that Q, though. Like I was saying, that's just knocks Tristana right there. The timing was great, but that flash forward basically was sealed both their fates. He needed to just keep running off and just get out of there. Big Brain picks it up, gives it to Leshy. And, you know, like we were saying, like if kills start going over early to Spear, it's going to get pretty dangerous. And Big Brain barely making it out. That was impressive. But yeah, YUBI, like they want to play fast, but they also have to play smart. They can't be just throwing themselves at Spear. That's a way to quickly let Spear get to an item or two and get themselves in a position where by the time like they start actually team fighting, they could have their full like two or three items, and that could be really dangerous. They've got to be smart with these plays.
Yeah, I mean, I think Team Spear's hearing us, kind of just counting us out. We were talking about how they weren't going to play very fast in the early game, and here we are, 2-0 at the 5 minutes into the game. I mean, it's looking good for Team Spear. We'll see what they do from here. I think YUBI will be able to recover, as it was only really one kill onto the Ezreal. You can pretty much farm from a safe distance. The EXP and the gold won't be that much of a problem. It has to be a full commit on the team from the side of Team Spear, and Brian Sang's been pretty good at just mitigating these engages from them. But I mean, you saw what happened in that bot side of the map. You were talking about how their fate was kind of sealed the moment Jeff God Gamer let out his war cry and flashed forward. And I mean, Cheeky Pingu with the nice flash just gets him out. I mean, the 2-0 lead for Team Spear is looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, and they're in a good position. It's still a small gold lead, but it's still nice to have. You see the armor boots on Orphic make this much harder for Wukong to deal with.
Looks like Orphic has found himself a 1v1 real quick. Freelancer just going down pretty low. Has popped his corrupting pot. Does have that to heal himself up, but Orphic is truly dominating this lane. Yeah,
those ninja tabs are going to make it so Freelance can't really get anything out of this lane right now. He's not going to be able to really get any dives. He just needs to play it safe and farm up. Maybe look to try to roam. But Utility Monster on the bottom side right there. He might be looking for a play.
Looking for a play. Rops starts going into the lane. Looks like the rest of his team is a little far behind. Knowing Cheeky Pingu does not have flash, Brian saying with a twisted advance does go in. Looks like a TP is coming down from Orphic. This could go really bad for Team YUBI. Looks like it's Diddle instead. Sets up the cage. Morgana walks out due to the Dark Shield. Pingu going forward under Brian saying Diddle picking it up with the ultimate, but traded back easily from Jeff God Gamer and Utility Monster. It looks like a 1-for-1 on the bot side of the map.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit overforced from Spear. Like, you trade support for support, and yeah, you got the kill on the Veigar, but, you know, like, once you forced them out of that point, you didn't really need to continue with that. And also, they lost the teleport too, so I give the advantage there to YUBI.
Nice face breaker onto Freelancer. He's kind of just eating Orphic, just going in with the ultimate. The Haymaker lands, but not in the center, and Freelancer barely scrapes away with his life.
Yeah, good play from Freelance getting out of there, but like I said, like lane is not going to go well for him now. Those ninja tabbies he can't really trade with Orphic, and if Orphic catches him like that again, like you saw how much damage he did with just a couple punches, so it's going to be rough on the top side. Then I think if you're YUBI, you need to just start trying to get your mid and bot lane ahead. I think Sivillak, actually, you try to force him ahead and just let him roam, like have basically two roamers on the map between him and the jungler. I think that's the play here, and try to get him to come up top, help deal with Orphic. But he's still holding the lane fine. I think YUBI, like they're playing a little bit more off balance so far this game, but you know. Let's see if Leshy goes forward. Nah, he's not. They've been very aggressive. I could see a play like that just happening.
Yeah, I mean, just the setup in the mid lane, kind of just hovering around Sivlock, seeing if he oversteps, kind of commits onto Diddle a little bit, but nothing happens. Everybody goes back to the original lanes. Looks like Skarner has found himself on the top side of the map, maybe looking to push the lead further on Freelancer, knowing that he has no flash. But alas, goes back into his jungle. Looks like
Oh,
a little bit of an engage on the bot side of the map. Leshy getting himself caught out. Does get out with the rocket jump. Cheeky Pingu kind of just throwing himself in between the line of fire and getting himself out.
yeah, good on Leshy to hold that W, because if he had used that and got knocked back into the turret, like it got stopped by the Maokai Q and knocked back into the turret, he'd be dead. Like that turret was targeting him. That could have been very painful.
Yeah.
And it was very, very close right there. And that's what you got to do. You got to be careful when you're going aggressive under turrets. I see a lot of people, especially like around my elo or so, like they get really bloodthirsty and like, I got to dive this turret. I can do it. And it's like, oh, this is not going to go well. They don't know the positioning. And ooh, cheeky.
Pengu and Leshy going far forward, dashing in all they can. Jeff God Gamer hits the ult onto Leshy, does miss Pengu, but Leshy is going down. It's forced to use the heal. Big Brain has come down, the exhaust goes down. Jeff God Gamer barely missing these Mystic shots, really wants to finish off Leshy. Big Brain tags him up, Brian saying up, and it looks like just going to be a walk away. A lot of summoners used in exchange for that, though, on the bot side of the map.
Yeah, heal down, exhaust down. The flash is still up though, so like it's not gonna be easy to return gank them. They're just gonna have a little bit harder time trading. I also noticed Leshy also bought heal. He used that too. Orphic.
Skirmish up on the top side. Orphic, Freelancer just refusing to use the substitute. Maybe trying to fake out Orphic. Maybe it's like saying, yeah, who would take this trade for so long? But I mean, is the real body. Orphic does take about an even trade. But I mean, that wave is crashing for Freelancer, and Orphic is free to do what he pleases in this lane.
I think Freelancer will be able to claim the entire wave. Yeah, he's able to just clear it on the second hit, so this will be fine. He's not going to lose. He might lose a minion, so I don't think it's that bad. But in response to that, though, you see, Yubi's got the first dragon. Is Cloud bounds up next? So it's Ocean or Infernal. If you're Yubi, you really want that Infernal Drake. Make your poke even more painful. But if you're on the side of Spear, you're hoping it's Ocean. If you get Ocean Soul, it's over. Like,
I'm gonna hold that thought as Big Brain gets a catch onto Sivlock. Does have the package. Just set up for a long amount of time. Leshy just jump into the package. Sivlock says, hey, I'm out of there. Looks like the Dark Binding lands onto Leshy with the Dark Matter. Goes down. Looks like a double kill for Utility Monster.
that was a great play from Utility Monster. That W really well positioned. I actually couldn't see it on top of the like the entirety of it on top of the little spire from Skarner, but you know, he locks down Leshy really well. Sivlock holding it, waiting for Leshy to jump in so that his team that he has no way out, so that Utility Monster can go forward, land that Q, get an easy pick right there. And I don't think they were expecting to get Big Brain too, but that worked out really well. That ult from Sivlock was fantastic, help finishing that off.
And you can see a little bit of a disconnect.
Yeah, it looked like Sivlock like had just kind of overextended it here, but there you go, the W, and they don't see it either because it's the same color as the Spire from Skarner, so they just walk right back over it. Oh, that's actually really smart usage of your enemy's utility.
Yeah, I mean, don't know if it was intentional, but overall, it does get the double kill. Utility Monster putting down that Tormented Soil is just, it's just painful to see for Big Brain. He was already at 200 HP, and 2 ticks of it just took him down. Looks like Freelancer's kind of caught himself in a 1v1 on the top side of the map. Orphic, though, fighting back with the Facebreaker, gets the Haymaker down, looking to chase him down with those brass knuckles of his. And I mean, Freelancer is running for the hills at the moment. No flash. A flash forward from Orphic, going into a tower dive. The Facebreaker comes up in time, and Orphic does pick up the kill. 1-0.
Yeah, Freelance is... I don't really think he should be fighting Orphic. I think he should just be farm. Like, you just farm. Like, you save your W to get out of there. You are not winning these trades. Again, he has the armor, the ninja tab. He's already weakening your basic attacks, but now Utility Monster can do that. But ooh, Sivlock.
Looks like Sivlock's caught up inside Diddle's cage. Diddle just barely doesn't have enough damage to finish off that kill, and I mean, it was almost a tragedy for Sivlock.
Yeah, if he had the ultimate, that was a guaranteed kill, but ultimate's down, so unfortunately not able to pick that up. Good, though, forcing out Sivlock. He's going to get this pressure on her. He's going to maybe get... I think he's only going to get one play. I don't think he'll be able to get the second, but, you know, good on him getting that gold right there. He's doing fairly well in this matchup. I mean, Veigar is down 10 CS, but I mean, it's a Veigar. You're not expecting him to... He's not the CSing monster that... He's not a CS... He doesn't CS as well as Corki does. Corki can do it pretty well, but... You know, it's still going good. They still have a lead. It's very slight. It's only 300 gold. It's 2 kills, but they're still in a good position. They've got the kills on Orphic. They've got them on Diddle. I think those are the places you want them right now. Let Leshy just kind of slowly do it. And now another fight on top side.
Yeah, Freelancer feeling a little bit better as he's got his Sheen, but that Haymaker takes him down so low, 30% of his HP. Freelancer's just forced to flash. I mean, he came back to lane after losing that exchange. He bought the Sheen, was feeling a little bit better knowing that Orphic took it back as well, getting up that Iron Spike whip, and I mean, Freelancer just was not expecting that, and overall is forced to flash out of that exchange.
Yeah, Freelance, like he really needs to just stop fighting him. I don't know why he keeps going in. Like, he was already at like half health, and he just keeps going forward. So then he is forced to use the flash, and he realizes, oh, I can't actually trade with him. It just play safe. Just like, if you're gonna use the Q, just use the extended range to like almost poke him basically, and then just don't disengage otherwise. Do not stay fighting him. Just take your time, because you're not going to beat him in the fights, like I said. And if you're getting 4-star lane, cool. Now he's getting turret plates, now he's getting tankier, now it's getting harder to deal with him. He's going to run Stridebreaker, so even the escapes later are going to be really difficult for Freelance. But Utility Monster's down here on the bottom side looking for something, but so is Big Brain.
Yeah, it looks like Utility Monster stopped his back, but he's going to recall again. Big Brain's moving towards the middle of the map, knowing that looks like both bot lanes have kind of stabilized. Maybe both junglers will make their way up to the top side of the map, as there's always been a lot of fighting going up there. Maybe they can pick up a kill, maybe transfer it into a Herald and get that top tower at some point. But looks like Orphic's pretty happy just farming that lane, kind of just bodying Freelancer. As Freelancer's now down about 30 CS.
Yeah, he's in a pretty bad spot right now. It's going to take him a bit to get back into this, and you know that's time that YUBI really doesn't have. I mean, if they get to late game, if they get enough of a lead on Ezreal and Corki, they could possibly just they could poke through the tanks especially if they're just building health and not like armor or MR. But you know, this is Freelance is still in a very tough position. YUBI as a whole is in a tough position. They need to find some way to like break open this game to get a big lead they can just snowball here.
I mean, the Drake is coming up in the next 30 seconds. We have some vision set up from the side of Team YUBI. But it's kind of dark from the side of Team Spear, but I'm sure they'll move some members down to establish positions. They probably don't want this Drake stacking to begin.
Yeah, and I mean, Freelance is down here too. It's just a Mountain Drake, and I'd argue Mountain is the worst single Drake in the game if you just have one of them.
Oh, my friend, this is where we disagree. I'll let you give your spiel, though.
Okay, so my opinion is, at least for if it's an early game, like if it's just like there's only one in the game, and my reasoning is because generally at that point, no one has the tanky items to really make use of it, so it kind of sucks until later. I mean, it's better later, but like it's the worst single for the time you usually get it. Now, it's still good. It's still giving them some tanky stats. It is going to be the Infernal. That is what YUBI wants, but you know, like again, even if it's the worst Drake as a single, it's still a Drake. It's still stats. It's still good. It's something that you often, I'd say it's the Drake I think people least, like if it's just a single one, it's not like stacking mountains. I think it's the one that's contested the least early on. Like it's the one that you would expect to see more delay in the contesting of. But in the case of YUBI, they are looking for trying to get those stacking. They want to make sure that they have complete control of that. Don't want to let Spear get any dragons going, because that could be very dangerous, especially with the scaling they have. So good on them for making that play. Now Jeff God and Brian gotta be careful. Orphic is here.
Orphic is on the bot side of the map. Cheeky Pingu kind of just dashing to his teammate. Oh, a flash forward from Orphic and a whiff. Facebreaker does not connect onto anyone. But the Herald is spawned on the top side of the map. Cheeky Pingu going in, flying in. Jeff God Gamer with a flash. A little bit of a late flash at that. But I mean, no one goes down. And the Herald does get dropped mid lane with the mid outer going down. Looks like Orphic is going to TP to the top side of the map though.
Yeah, the goal lead is expanding for Spear with that turret going down. But they've wasted a lot right there. Orphic had to burn Flash. He had to burn Teleport. We saw Cheeky burn his ultimate. They did get the Flash out of Jeff God and Brian. But, I mean, again, it is Jeff God. Ooh.
Looks like Leshy's jumping on. The Grand Entrance misses from Cheeky Pengu. Jeff God Gamer fighting back. The Mystic Shocks are landing. The Gatling Gun and the Missile Barrage will it land. The Valkyrie goes forward from Civlock and picks up Cheeky Pengu. A little bit of an over-aggression as soon as Orphic leaves. Team Spear decided to go in and bites them in the butt. Looks like Freelancer on the top side of the map is baiting Orphic into an exchange. Utility Monster has found himself on the top side of the map. Finally, the Soul Chains have landed. Was broken though as Orphic gained some distance. Freelancer autoing away. Orphic hitting the Haymaker. Look at that damage going down. Turning around this 2v1. Takes both Utility Monster and Freelancer down. Has no business collecting those kills. But I mean, we're going to call this guy Orphic the God. Taking both of these guys down.
Yeah, hail to the king, baby. That is a great play right there. Knowing the power of his shield, knowing the punch, and Freelance just takes it right through the middle. So does Utility Monster. So they both lose basically half their health just instantly. And then at that point he knows, hey, one hit kills Freelance, and now what's Utility Monster gonna do? You saw him use his magic shield. He's not gonna be able to get out of here. Beautiful play right there. This set is getting a little out of control. He's not going Stridebreaker, he's going Gore Drinker for the dueling potential. On the bottom side, though, I want to talk about that fight too. I think that it went very well for Jeff God and Brian. Jeff God actually going forward, I think, was the smart decision because it buys space between him and Cheeky Pingu, and also separates Pingu from Leshy. So Leshy, there's nothing to block for Leshy, so he's just taking those cues straight to the face. Easy takedown, and once he goes down and Civil Lock appears, like it's over. Cheeky has no way to go get out. He has nothing to E2. He's already used to W in. Good player there, a great teleport too. It scared off Big Brain, which could have made that very disastrous for on the side of UB. But you know, it's just countered by that top play. Orphic is just a monster this game. He's up 40 CS on Freelance right now.
Brian's with the twisted advance followed down, but it looks like a TP is coming down from the side of Team Spear on Diddle.
Brian's dead.
Brian's just too far forward. Unless he's gonna pick up that easy kill, and I mean, from a good TP from Diddle forces him down to that bot side of the map, unless he picks up one for free.
Well, I guess we know the answer. If a tree falls and none of your teammates are around to hear it, does it make a sound? Yes, it makes a sad sound as it goes down.
Grand entrance does force Cheeky Pingu to walk in. Diddle with the primordial burst goes down. Big Brain with the flash forward brings him into the team. Jeff God Gamer running away from his base, and I mean, only into certain death at this point. Leshy picks up 2 kills in that exchange, whereas Diddle picks up 1. A 3-for-0 from the side of Team Spear.
Yeah, Spear's starting to run away with this game. Absolutely fantastic from them, and now Freelance might die again.
The Orphic just goes in with the ultimate. Oh my, he's just chasing him down. Wants to slap him in the face. Freelancer starts the second ultimate, has the substitute, fails the flash over the wall. Orphic is laughing while Freelancer is crying in his grave. Brian saying it's found him in an unfortunate situation again. Spear is now stepping off the gas. Simlock is forced to just Valkyrie over the wall and watch his teammates die and roll in their graves.
Yeah, it just goes from bad to worse for UB. Just like just getting caught after getting caught after getting caught around the map, and what was only 7-5, it's 12-5 right there. That's 5 kills in the space of like 30 seconds on the side of Spear. They've got it on the Veigar, they've got it on the Tristana, they've got it on the set. Everyone they want kills on has it, and this is getting really bad for UB. They either need to make sure they stack these, they get these dragon stacks, or they're basically screwed. Like, they're just going to get outscaled at this point. They're going to get beaten team fights. And this is a really good showing from Spear. This is what we were looking for. Stronger play from the mid lane, a better a more like coordinated team comp, and it shows in a more coordinated comp they can go toe to toe with UB.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the change has to be from the mid lane. Diddle, more comfortable champion, is playing a little bit more of that zone control. The bot lane is playing well together. It looks like Orphic has found himself on a flank on a Civ block. The grand entrance, the quickness goes through. Looks like everybody's just getting eviscerated from the side of Team Spear, actually. Yubi has found the fight. The end just goes down. Jeff God Gamer, Utility Monster turning onto the dragon. Diddle, let's see what he can do. It has already used the ultimate, is caught up by that binding. Will Team Yubi go forward? And I mean, not what we're expecting from a 5k gold lead from the side of Team Spear. Mitigated to about a 4k gold lead, but still end up winning the fight. Jeff God Gamer wants more. Yeah, and I mean, it's just disaster. Yeah,
that was... I thought that was going to be really bad for the side of UB, but Orphic lands the ult, and then the entirety of Spear... We'll see this in the replay. They just... Oh, the positioning... It's unfortunate. Like, that fight could have gone so well for them, but they get as you see, there's like setting up right here. The rest of UB is already there in the front. Civillock's in the back, and this is where Orphic hits him. He lands Civillock right into the middle of his team. The ult doesn't matter from the Skarner because of the set ult, but that lets Orphic, the Civillock, get the package down, and the entirety of Spear is standing on it. They just burn themselves to death. Jeff God's ult comes through. The ult from Utility Monster. Just so much AoE that everyone on the team side of Spear just got kind of wrecked by it, and then Diddle's forced to get to walk away. He can't really deal with Utility Monster and Jeffcut, and now he's already on Soul Point at 21 minutes for the side of YUBI. We said they needed to find a way back into this game. They have finally done that. They're still down about 4k gold, but if they get another fight like that, this game could get pretty bad, pretty rough for Spear, especially if they get that Infernal.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the flank from Orphic. He came running around. They don't layer the CC as well as I think they wanted to. I mean, it was so hard with Civ just having that package over them. Even though that Ditto put down the event horizon, Spear was just looking off into the horizon, crying with Pepe hands at that point. I mean, they were just burning. And unless he found himself on the opposite side, the positioning was just not there from Spear after the initial play. And I mean, the 5k goalie doesn't mean anything at that point if the positioning is that bad.
Yeah, the CC layering I think is the biggest thing. Like, Orphic's already ulted Corki. Skarner ulting at the same time. Cool, you've just wasted the Skarner ult because it's gonna drop out by the time Orphic's landed. So like you can't just layer it on the Corki. You need to wait for the Corki to land to then use it so that he can't get the package off. But you know, you've used two of your biggest CC tools already right off the bat. It makes it much easier in a fight because now you don't have to worry if you're Jeffcut. Okay, no one's gonna be able to pick me up, just grab me and throw me away from this because that they've used them both. I think like if they spread a bit more, I think Spear still has a pretty good chance here. Like they just need to play a better front to back fight, get Leshy there sooner, and they should be able to do pretty well. But if they need to be careful not to let that kind of pick happen again. They need to make sure that they're coordinating their CC a bit easier.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the uncoordination. I mean, a lot of that fight went over to the side of Team YUBI due to the missed grand entrance and quickness from Pengu. We saw him jump over the wall. There was no vision set up around that Drake. It was kind of just a spur of the moment. Orphic has a flank, let's go in. But they had no vision set up, and so they were just jumping in blind. Again, they do still have a 4k gold lead. A lot of it is on Orphic. We'll see what he can do if he continues to split this map, put in a lot of pressure. But due to that Drake going down and them losing that fight, even though there's a 4k goal lead from the side of Team Spear, they're now at Drake's point for Team YUBI, and at the 2-minute 40-second mark, you can expect a fight for that.
Yeah, and I want to also look at the build for Diddle. He's been forced, so he got the Everfrost, which is good, but he's been forced to get Banshee second, and Banshee is still a good item, but it means he had to get that defensive stats. You know, like it takes a bit away from the offensive capability you could get. Like if you say got a Rabadons or something early on, or maybe even a Morello stop the healing coming out of the Corki. But you know, he's forced to get that. He's a little bit further behind. It's going to help him stay alive in a fight, but I feel like he's not even the target when they use their CC. It feels like it's just always Leshy because Diddle. It's just you don't have to waste it. You waste the CC on him. If you take out the AD carry, the DPS is kind of gone from the side of Spear, and then you can kind of buy yourself more time. You can kite a bit easier, not have to worry about the resets coming through from the W. I feel like I don't know. Maybe I guess I don't play as much mid, so perhaps it isn't as bad as I'm thinking it is. But it feels like getting that defensive item second could be it could hurt Diddle a little bit in Spear.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I mean, there's a lot of dive going on from the side of Team YUBI, but I do have to agree with you. As someone who doesn't play mid, though, I don't like the Banshee's Veil second. I like the Everfrost. I like the zone control. You already have the Horizon with your E. You just block off those chokes. You have the Everfrost to lock one of those champions down. But I think if he'd gone a Dark Seal earlier or just gone with something like that, was it Cheeky Pingu was on the Utility Monster. He's kind of caught out. His team's kind of going around him, but I mean, Orphic tries to land the ult, but this Black Shield's still on him. Cheeky Pingu has found himself on the wrong side of the map. Orphic doing what he can. Of course, the Haymaker does a lot of damage, but what can you do when you're locked up by the Dark Binding? And
that's Spell Shield. That was hilarious.
It was just a sliver. I can see what Orphic was going for. Maybe you can catch out Utility Monster on the other side of the map because he's already used Zanya's, but I mean, that interaction was funny. Just the sliver of the Dark Shield not showing up for Orphic, ulting him, and I mean, he's just caught out at that point.
Yeah, I really thought that the shield would drop in time for him to ult, but like it just lasts a fraction of a second long enough for him to like it helps him get out, like to reposition. But since he's not able to grab Utility Monster, he doesn't really get as much out of it in terms of damage. And now Baron started up from the side of YUBI, Dragon up in 15.
Team Spirit does know. The Dark Binding does land onto Leshy, but it looks like a great Dark Horizon. The Primordial Burst and the Dark Matter landing on from the side of Diddle. Diddle is eventually going to go down to the Baron buff, and I mean, looks like Team Yumi does get out away with those kills. But that fight has gone on so long when they were trying to get that Baron buff. Brian had to recall during that. It's a 3v5 for Team Yumi, but the first two initial kills that happened at that first Drake had gone down. Cheeky Pengu and Orphic are going in. Utility Monster has walked into the wrong side of the river. Looks like the duo from Team Spirit have started doing their damage. Looks like the fists are coming forward. The Brass Knuckles, the grand entrance with the flash going on to Civlock does land, but I mean, Orphic is just running forward. He forces the flash out of Civlock, and I mean, it looks like a little bit of a misplay from Team Yumi.
That event horizon was so big from Diddle. It locked up 3 members of Yubi. They weren't able to get out. Then they get Everfrost, so they just take the entire brunt of his damage and the damage coming out from Leshy. Stops the Baron, stops them from being able to rotate to take the Drake, and now Spear's going to get their first Drake unless that Steel's not going to go through. And boom, look at that. Spear has managed to, like, it looked like a bad situation. They made to flip it around, and I think that was a very good play from them. I think it was very good positioning from Diddle of the event horizon, and also on Orphic for teleporting in to stop them from at least trying to get the dragon out of it as a consolation prize.
Yeah, good plays coming out of Orphic, trying to extend his lead where he built it up on top side, trying to extend it into the other sides of the map. But I mean, as all of these exchanges were happening, we did see Team Spear win out, end up getting their first dragon. As the time has gone on, the gold lead has been mitigated. There's only about a 1.7k gold lead on the side of Team Spear from now, and it's not even that much.
Yeah, and especially with having extra Drakes under your belt, that kind of adds a little bit of gold. So it's probably even closer. It's probably like 1,000 gold in terms of difference at this point. I mean, that probably like a couple hundred. So this is a close game. You know, it is still super close. There's still I think it could go either way. It just depends. I've been surprised by the side of YUBI, like they're actually taking these team fights well, and I think a big portion of that is that while Orphic is beefy, it's not an armor and MR, it's health. So he's still like, yeah, he's got a lot of health, but he's still just taking full damage almost, except for like the Ninja Tabby stopping a bit of basic attacking. But he's just taking full damage from the poke from Civlock and Jeff got, especially from Civlock, because there's a lot of magic damage in Quirky, and there is no MR right now on this set, so he's just taking the brunt of it. It hurts when he duels it. Like,
I don't know. Like, on himself on the top side of the map. Gonna hold that thought. It looks like Big Brain is looking to knows the substitute's gonna come in. Didn't want to use the ultimate and forces Freelancer to flash.
I don't know if he had to flash. I think he was fine just walking away, especially after he used the clone. But still, good on him getting out. And now looks like Big Brain's looking for something here on the side.
Yeah, I mean, just threatening, doing Skarner things. Cheeky Pengu does pop the Shirelias, does land the Grand Entrance onto Brian, saying not the target he's looking for. Looks like the Event Horizon from Ditto does find Utility Monster. Jeff God Gamer with a nice QSS lands the Mystic Shot with the Snipe. The exhaust coming down, keeping him alive. Jeff God Gamer firing shots back. Ditto farts forward. Primordial Burst onto Jeff God Gamer. Doesn't knock him down, a little bit low. Ditto with the Event Horizon on the side. Just a little bit disoriented, but I mean, Orphic has found himself in a 1v3 situation, 1v4 situation on the bot side of the jungle, but taking these blast cones, he's having a heyday over here.
Yeah, a great escape by Orphic. Gets out. That looked really good from the side of Spear, especially when they caught out Utility Monster. Yeah, they gave up Cheeky, and that's okay. Like, you know, you can still like go forward. You've lot traded support for a jungler, but as Leshy lands forward, the exhaust coming out from Brian, preventing the damage from coming out from enough damage coming out from Leshy for Diddle to flash and secure the kill. So when Diddle flashes forward, he's not quite able to finish off Jeff God. Jeff God gets out of there, and then it's just tears him up at that point, because it's Veigar. You've used your Event Horizon, you've used your flash. There's nothing else you can do to get out of there. You're just gonna get picked off, and it's a good play from Yubi, like managing to like react to that so well. But you know, Spear, you gotta be a little bit more careful. Don't get too much. Don't get too what's it, like blood in the eyes. They're getting too bloodthirsty. That's the word. There we go.
Yeah, I can smell it. They have it. They want this game to go to Game 3. They did pick up a really good early game lead, looking to close it out. from anywhere. Just one more fight will probably just net one of these teams the Baron. And if it's from the side of Team Yumi, they'll pick up that final Drake, which will probably end up sealing this game if they were to get it. Team Spear kind of just looking for their way in, looking to force down more towers, kind of get a little bit of a lead down these lanes with the minions advantages, try to get those inhibitors down so they can slowly push their way to the base. But I mean, none of these inhibitor towers have been knocked down, let alone the tier 2 towers.
Yeah, and if I'm Spear, honestly, I want in the next, like, probably about next 40 seconds, I want Spear to start up the Baron, because you trade them Baron for Infernal Soul. I take that trade any day. That's so valuable for you, and Baron will fall off, Soul won't. And it just makes your fighting capability so strong, and Diddle catching out Freelance, but I don't think he's going to actually hurt him that much there. It's utility monster around to save him. But it looks like Spear, ooh, the bush play.
Do they know, though, is the problem. Orphic did walk in a little bit, but it looks like Civlox didn't choose that pathing particularly. Orphic going in, maybe a little bit of a bait into that, maybe caught out of a bad position. Orphic does eat the Dark Binding. A great route from Brian saying Cheeky Pingu goes in a little bit too deep. He goes in, gets taken down. Civlox on the backside of the map, going down on Alechi. And I mean, he's just putting in the work. The Gatling gun, the missile barrage, everything. Orphic going down, trying to punch down with knuckle down onto the enemies. Ditto does end up picking up a kill on the bot side of the map, but what did it cost, man? A 5 for 1 from the side of Team YUBI.
Yeah, and that was a beautiful from Brian. You saw Cheeky and Big Brain. They both activate their speed boost. It roots them immediately. So Cheeky has to like force it at that point, and then it lets everyone else spy some space, lets Freelance come in the back, lets him get that ultimate onto so many people, and then they just cut up the fight and just pick targets where they want. It's just like a hunt, basically, taking down members of Spear. Absolutely fantastic fight from YUBI. That was played so well, and now they've got Soul, they've got the gold lead, and this game is now in their hands. They could have a very good shot right now of making this a 2-0.
Yeah, death timers are pretty long. It looks like they're making their way towards the Baron. I do believe they have enough damage. The death timers are looking really long. There is a double TP from the side of Spear. Can look to deny it, but you saw the damage from Civlock and Jeff God Gamer in that fight. It was unreal. Civlock just jumps in with the Valkyrie going on to Leshy, just basically 2 taps from Jeff God Gamer, setting out Mystic shots throughout the whole fight. I mean, look at this Baron. It's almost just like a camp. It's just
hot knife through butter.
Yeah, it's just taken down so fast. And I mean, looks like Yubi's going to look for their death march. No reason to wait for this Elder Dragon spawning in the next 5 minutes. And if I'm Team Spear, I'm pushing out the waves as far as I can.
Yeah, this is Spear has their lead has evaporated. It was at what 5-6K at one point, and it's gone. They're now 3K down in the last 10 minutes. The gold lead has swung about 10K in YUBI's favor. YUBI, like Brian, is actually getting beefy. He built the Abyssal to help get the damage out from Civlock and Jeff to kind of amplify it, and they're just going to siege us up mid. They've got Baron, they've got Soul. Spear is just going to have to play on the defensive. They're going to have to hope they can maybe get that front-to-back fight they want. But like, what do you do at this point when every fight just it's too hard to get onto these targets? The CC is preventing it. Like we were saying at the beginning, like yes, their comp is better at team fighting, but you can't ever get onto these targets. There's too much CC to hold you back.
Yeah, I mean, Team Spear really just throwing out everything that they can, all their abilities, trying to stop these minion waves from pushing in, but Team Yumi's kind of just continuing their death march. Ditto going down so low. You saw Leshy just get hit by that true barrage, and I mean, half of his HP bar is just gone. Orphix found himself on the flank, though. It's coming in from the middle side of the map. Cheeky Pingu is looking, pop the Shirelle as the grand entrance does go in. Orphic finding the ultimate onto Civlock, but not as much as Freelancer is just free to dive the middle of the team on Team Spear, and I mean, even with a great flank and everything that they threw at them, Team Spear is going down to Yumi.
Yeah, it was a good attempt from Spear, but YUBI, that flank looks so good, but Jeff God gets pulled out by Big Brain, and the entire team, instead of just turning on him, they just kind of turn the other way. They turn towards what Orphic was going for, and it cost them it all. GG, YUBI taking 2-0, and that was a fantastic comeback from this squad.
Fantastic comeback from YUBI. Was a good showing from Team Spear, showing some fighting spirit at the end. letting us know that their mental was not shaken from that first game. Unfortunately, does drop down, is dropped out of the tournament actually, due to this being the losers bracket, will not have a second life. And we'll see Team Spear hopefully next year at some point. But I mean, at this point, Yumi is just looking to go through a tear through this losers bracket. And everyone up in the uppers is going to have to fear them.
Yeah, like this is YUBI going. Yesterday's loss. That was just a setback. That was a fluke. We are still the scary team right now. And if you're on one of the other teams in the losers bracket, you're shaking in your boots right now. Whoever wins the next series and has to face them next week. It's gonna be a rough one, especially if they play like they did today.
Will be. I mean, you can see what the damage coming out. Orphig trying his best, 25k damage. Ditto 22k damage. I mean, but you see the damage coming out from Corki and Ezreal throughout the whole game. 25 damage a piece, just doing so much damage. You can even see the Maokai support. Look at that, 17,000 damage.
Yeah, that's more than the Tristana. That's more than the Wukong. Oh my God! Like that, I straight up, Brian was the MVP of this series. Brian, in the first game, his roams got them the lead to snowball the game. In this game, his ult prevented Spear from finding those engages and allowed them to claw their way back into it. This man is absolutely insane, and his play, his play today has. It's not only earned his team the win moving on to the next round, but it's shown that they can play not only they can play a multitude of styles. As long as Brian is on site that can set his team up, they can win with any style.
This man's got a champion Ocean. This name's Brian Sang. It rhymes with insane. This man is just living up to the expectations of whatever we throw at him. We talk him up on cast. He performs, and I mean, every time it just gets better every week. He really is the backbone of Team YUBI from what we can see. He's setting up all these plays, allowing these plays to happen, probably opening up a lot of flexibility in the draft as well. We could see him play multiple different champions, playing all these supporting roles, and I mean, really is the MVP of this series.
No doubt about it.
With that, this will be our concluding the first best of 3 of today. The next game will be happening shortly in the losers bracket between Team Sword and Falcon Esports. We'll see if Team Spear's sister team can get some revenge, but until then, we'll see you next time.
Hello everyone, Chris Edgeworth here for the first interview of today's matches. I am joined by Civillock, victorious mid laner from Universal Basic Income. How are you feeling after that big win today?
Yeah, feeling really good. My team was really excited, and we wanted to give Brian Sang the MVP, but unfortunately, Brian Sang racing off to go eat his dinner so he can get fed in real life. So I'm going to have to accept the interview in his stead.
That's okay. He's MVP in our hearts.
Yeah, he always is. Always is.
Let's talk a little bit about how we got here. I kind of didn't expect to be interviewing Universal Basic Income on the first day of the losers bracket. So it's very interesting to see you here. How did we get here? What were your thoughts on yesterday's matchup against BBZ?
Yeah, so BBZ definitely was a tough match for us. We were hoping that things would go a little more smoothly, of course, but it didn't really pan out. The break was a little bit hard for us, and we didn't get enough practice in, and then we tried to cram a little too much beforehand. So, I think there's probably a good balance between trying to cram and, say, not practicing at all for 2 weeks and playing one game right before your tournament match. And I think we did the over-practicing. So we were a little bit burned out, I think, yesterday.
There you go. It's good that you get out in front of it. You just make sure you line up all those excuses in public, and then guys, it's just my little brother had the controller, and the sun was in my eyes, and I'm not.
I mean, there was another big worry that we had yesterday, and it was just like looking ahead of the winners bracket. There's some really strong teams in FOF, some really a lot of matchups we want to prepare for, things we want to study and learn. And the main thing is that we figured that it'd be a lot easier to stay on the top of the KDA leaderboards if we go to the losers bracket early.
Okay.
That way we can play for stat padding and get easier matchups. So
there you go. I can see a certain amount of logic to that.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your matchup yesterday against Lights. What were your thoughts on this matchup? You guys seem to be going pretty toe to toe.
Yeah, Lights, I think, is pretty decisively, I think, the single best mid laner in the whole tournament. I spend the most time of my individual prep preparing for Lights. And from what I hear, he's super young. As a teacher, I love to see it. See that talent, see the hard work paying off. Really excited to see more of Lights. And yeah, I'll see you in the finals.
I did not know you were a teacher. Teachers unite. I'm a teacher also.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about today's matchup. Let's be frank. There's really not a whole lot of meat on the bones of Game 1. That was quite the banger. You guys did drop the one death for the Zac. That's pretty tragic. Utility monster decided to try and grief that KDA you were just talking up. But let's talk a little bit more about this Game 2, honestly, which was a lot of the spear I was expecting to see in this matchup. Obviously, they did not come up with the win in this game, but they were really strong. Especially Orphic was really not making life fun for Freelancer, for sure. So talk to me a little bit about this mental in Game 2. You guys getting behind, having to deal with this set on the mathematically correct set build. What were your thoughts?
Orphic was about as strong this game as he is in real life. So that was definitely pretty scary. They had almost a 6k gold lead around 20 minutes, but we weren't actually super worried. We, I think, took a lot out of our matches from yesterday, and we were just like, okay, we just need to be disciplined. If you're behind, that's okay. Just understand when your power spikes are and what you need to fight for. And we knew that we could leverage our dragon advantage to eventually create a favorable macro game state. It's the other thing that came up was that even though we lost all our outer towers, it meant that all the minion waves keep pushing into us, and then we can build a golden experience lead without taking the standing gold. And with Vigar, it's not really possible to siege and poke against Corki Ezreal. So we're able to just hold defensively for a really long time and prevent them from snowballing.
Yeah, that is, we'll give a little tip of the hat to Found, who did point that out yesterday. I can't remember if it was in your series or the one after, but when you take these turrets early, it's a balancing act of okay, cool, the gold and the posture on the map, but also it's, as you say, allowed you guys with the scaling composition to put your 280 carries and just collect waves and just push them out. And you guys played to your strengths and to your spikes, as you said. So, well done to recollect after last night's games. Really well done, Civillock. Thanks for joining us for this interview. I want to talk a little bit about your matchup that may be coming up against one of these two, Sword or Falcon, for our next matchup. What are your thoughts on the two teams? Who are you hoping you guys get to face in the next match?
Yeah, well, I think they're both teams that we will have to do some prep for. Not ready to play as of today. I think for the narrative, it'd be really spicy to play against Sword so that we could eliminate both Spear and Sword from the tournament through the losers bracket assassins. So I guess that's for my narrative. Sword would be more exciting.
There you go. Okay, so
I do want to see Jovi and King Gator as well. Those are always really fun matches to play with those two guys.
Excellent. Well, very, very nice of you to place a marker now, and we'll get to see if you come up heads or tails on that. So maybe it's Sword YUBI coming up, or you might end up getting stuck with the Falcon matchup. Who knows?
Yeah.
Civillock, thanks so much for joining us for this interview. Congratulations again to your whole team. Any final thoughts before we step away to the second match of tonight?
Yeah, I guess I would like to pour one out for my two Stony boys, Malphite and Galio. Never going to get to play any of them ever again. To express my sadness, I built a gargoyle stone plate on Corky in the last match, in solidarity with the Gargoyle Brethren.
Dude, I was
and I would also like to... Oh yeah, please go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I was looking at this in the middle of the interview, and I was like, I probably just bought that on this last pack or something, whatever. But yeah, good.
Yeah, that way Corky can cosplay as Galio with his Galio stoneplate. As the Gargoyle playing pretty similar. And I guess with that, I would like to also wish Leshy good luck in his future Valorant career. So I hope he has the best going for him.
There you go. Tip of the hat to Leshy, and it's a little bit reminiscent of the Genja build there for the Corky, but they used to do the Randuins back in the day, the OG Randuins.
Yeah, get the slow.
Exactly. Yeah, because you're just going to be packaging on them, so better have the slow when you get to them. I mean, exactly. It just makes sense. Civillock, thanks so much for this interview. And folks, don't go anywhere. We'll be back very soon with our second matchup of tonight, Team Sword versus Falcons Esports.